The church was not empty, but it felt as though something had quietly slipped away. The pews were still occupied, the hymns were still sung, the sermons were still preached. Yet beneath the structure of religion, beneath the polished routines and familiar rhythms, something fragile was happening. People were drifting, not rebelling, not denouncing their faith, not storming out in anger. They were simply drifting, slowly, silently, almost imperceptibly. And one man noticed. His name was Will L. Thompson, and he carried a burden that many ministers at the time did not fully articulate. Thompson was not distressed by public scandal or theological controversy. He was troubled by something quieter and, in many ways, more dangerous. He saw believers becoming spiritually exhausted. He saw hearts growing distracted. He saw souls postponing their response to God, convincing themselves there would always be more time. Born in 1847 in East Liverpool, Ohio, Thompson demonstrated remarkable musical talent from an early age. He studied music seriously and eventually built a successful career as a gospel songwriter and publisher. Yet unlike many musicians of his era who were content with artistic accomplishment, Thompson was driven by a deeper concern. He cared about the condition of people's hearts. He believed music could reach where sermons sometimes could not. He believed melody could soften what argument could not persuade. And as he watched churchgoers attend faithfully while inwardly disengaging, he began to understand that the answer was not louder preaching or harsher warnings. The answer was compassion. The most dangerous spiritual state is not open hostility toward faith. It is indifference. It is delay. It is the quiet assumption that one can respond tomorrow. Thompson saw individuals who were not rejecting God outright, but were slowly turning their attention elsewhere. Responsibilities multiplied. Ambitions expanded. Disappointments accumulated. Wounds went unaddressed. And over time, devotion cooled. He understood that you cannot shout someone back into intimacy with God. You must invite them. And so he wrote, "Softly and tenderly Jesus is calling for you and for me." Those words were not crafted in anger. They were not written as accusation. They were composed as an appeal. Thompson did not portray Christ as impatient or condemning. He portrayed him as patient, earnest, and compassionate. The genius of the hymn lies in its tone. It does not corner the listener. It does not threaten. It does not demand immediate emotional display. Instead, it gently exposes a universal truth. We linger when we should respond. We delay when we should return. We drift when we should draw near. The line, "Why should we linger and heed not his mercies?" is not rhetorical condemnation. It is tender confrontation. It recognizes the human tendency to postpone obedience while quietly reminding the listener that mercy is available now. Years later, as Thompson's life was drawing to a close, he received a visit from the renowned evangelist Dwight L. Moody. Moody was himself nearing death and had led revivals that impacted thousands across America and Europe. His preaching shook cities. His influence shaped a generation of believers. Yet in a moment of striking humility, Moody told Thompson something extraordinary. He said he would rather have written softly and tenderly than anything he had accomplished in his entire ministry. That statement reveals the power of the hymn. Sermons are powerful, but they are tied to a moment in time. Songs endure. They travel where the preacher cannot go. They echo in hospital rooms, in quiet bedrooms late at night, in nearly empty sanctuaries after everyone else has gone home. They linger in memory long after the final chord fades. Come home, you who are weary, come home. Notice who the hymn addresses. It does not call out the rebellious or the defiant. It calls the weary. It speaks to those who are tired, those who are burdened, those who once felt close to God but now feel distant and are not entirely sure how it happened. There is profound psychological insight here. Human beings resist pressure. When confronted aggressively, they defend themselves. But when invited gently, they soften. Thompson understood that shame rarely restores intimacy, but compassion often does. The hymn presents Christ not as a distant judge waiting to condemn, but as a patient presence waiting to receive. It emphasizes persistence. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. This suggests ongoing pursuit. The invitation is not a one-time event. It is continuous. The call does not cease simply because it was ignored yesterday. Throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, softly and tenderly became a staple of revival meetings and altar calls. As congregations gathered and the organ began its familiar progression, something shifted in the atmosphere. The hymn created space for reflection. It allowed individuals to confront their own drift without feeling exposed. It invited a response without coercion. Its simplicity contributed to its spread. The melody is accessible. The language is direct. There is no complex theological argument to unpack. Instead, there's a clear emotional pathway, recognition of delay, awareness of mercy, and invitation to return. But perhaps the hymn resonates so deeply because its message extends beyond explicitly religious settings. At its core, it addresses a universal human experience. We drift from what matters most. We drift from relationships. We drift from purpose. We drift from convictions we once held firmly. Life becomes crowded and clarity becomes blurred. And somewhere within that drift, there's often a quiet awareness that we have moved farther than we intended. Softly and tenderly gives voice to that awareness without amplifying shame. It acknowledges hesitation while gently challenging it. It suggests that return is not only possible, but welcomed. Thompson did not live to see the full global impact of his work, but he understood that he had contributed something lasting. His hymn crossed denominational lines and cultural boundaries. It was sung in small rural churches and large city congregations. It accompanied moments of public decision and private surrender. There is something profoundly disarming about the word home in the refrain. Home implies belonging. It implies safety. It implies familiarity. The hymn does not invite the listener to a courtroom. It invites them home, and that is why it continues to endure. It endures because it addresses those who are not loudly lost, but quietly distant. It speaks to individuals who are not sure they have the strength to start over, but long for restoration. It reminds them that the call has not stopped. It reassures them that mercy has not expired. The enduring power of softly and tenderly lies not in dramatic backstory or scandalous origin, but in its deep understanding of the human condition. It understands delay. It understands weariness. It understands how easily we convince ourselves that tomorrow will be more convenient. Yet tomorrow is never promised. So the hymn continues to whisper across generations, "Come home." As we reflect on its message today, the question is not whether the call is being extended. The question is whether we recognize it in our own lives. Where have we lingered? Where have we delayed? Where have we quietly drifted? And what would it look like to respond? If this story moved you, if this hymn has ever met you in a moment of exhaustion or quiet distance, I invite you to engage with us below. Share in the comments the line that speaks most deeply to you, or tell us about a moment when this hymn found you exactly when you needed it. Your story may be the encouragement someone else is waiting for. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, share this episode with someone who may need a gentle reminder that it is never too late to come home. Like this video, so that more people can discover the powerful history behind these timeless hymns. Subscribe to Hymns Unveiled for more cinematic journeys into the songs that shape generations of faith, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. These hymns are more than music. They are invitations. They are echoes of grace that continue to call, softly and tenderly, across time. And perhaps even now, the call is for you.